some examples of things that have happened. One of them was personally to themselves and their children. Unfortunately, it happened at the school, so I told her that she should definitely reach out to the proper organization, and unfortunately, there weren't a lot the town could do with things that are happening at the school. But during my speech that I wrote last week that I read off, I put in there that I was unaware of any acts of hate or racism, or I don't remember my exact wording. And I'd asked the public to come forward if they had anything, and they did. And now I definitely acknowledge that there is some cases of it going on, and as we all agreed last week, it's not welcome here. We don't want it. So I'm hoping that citizen that had the issue with the school did reach out to the school, and if I still encourage anybody else that has anything to please email us or email Carrie so that we can address it if it's anything we can help with. That's about all I had. Does anybody else from the board have anything?
Well, one concern I have, and Chan, you might be able to answer this a little better, but the track is the local racetracks, both dirt bikes and oval track. It's going to be opening up here this coming weekend with the governor's order to lift the stay-at-home ban. That being said, it's at 50% for the fans,
For the
spectators, and I don't know. Are we relying on the track to police themselves, or is, I know they hire a police department for outside activity. I didn't know if they, could do a visual or what.
I would have them do a visual. The track has made the parking areas for the trailers bigger. They got them separated. They're trying their best every other spot. We don't know. We haven't been open, so we don't know how people are going to act. But again, we'll be there. Somebody be around here to make sure that.
Well, I do share the same concern. I've heard from a few people and we discussed it in the past, that now that one thing opens and it's the only thing that opens, everybody's going to come to it. I mean, everybody's stir crazy. They've been sitting at home doing nothing.
Claremont's been open. They raced last weekend. They had
Yeah.
a ton of cars up there. But they
Right. Well, that's my concern. If we normally have, I don't know how many cars are normally there on a week, but if we normally have a couple hundred cars and all of a sudden we're open again now, we end up with 300 instead of a couple hundred.
You got to be a member anyway.
Right.
So.
Barry, did you have something?
On that, yes. So actually, I put on the place of assembly. It's contingent on what the governor states when he gives the okay to open up these racetracks. So if he says 50%, then their place of assembly is only for 50%. So if we need to police it as a town to do that, and then I guess shut them down if they're not obeying it, whether we do it through the police department or the land use. I mean, she's also the code enforcement officer. But it states right on their place of assembly, both of them, or all three of them that I did for the three separate tracks, contingent on what the governor says when he opens things back up.
Yep.
So they were full aware of, the capacity.
Yeah.
Right. And unfortunately, this all happened pretty quick, so it's hard to, can't really get ahead of it because it's already done. Literally Monday, as soon as the governor said, open them back up, they all scheduled races. So I would feel confident having our police kind of police it, keep an eye on it, maybe give us a report, and maybe even have either Carrie or Margaret reach out to the tracks and tell them that, look, we're going to be keeping an eye on you. And
They expect that.
right.
The place of assembly can be full.
Right. And I just, as much as I want to see them race finally and survive, I also don't want to flood a lot of Connecticut, Rhode Island, New
Well,
York
that's a concern
people.
for the town
Right.
residents.
Because then they'll be flooding every business in Winchester and Swansea, and who knows what's gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah, I think, Carrie, I don't know whether you or
Well, Mike's
Margaret
up
would
there
like to
anyway,
talk to
so
the
what
tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and talk to Mike about it, and just let him know that we'd like a report after the weekend's over on his findings, on how everything went. I mean, I'm hoping it goes nice and smooth and they can just continue. Does anybody else from the board have anything else?
Asheville at Fire Station, the roof. Channing and I went down and looked at that. Shingles have fallen off. So there are some bare spots. So we need to get somebody down there to look at that.
Yep.
And I spoke with Barry. Maybe we could replace those with metal roofing. Now there was some money for that.
There's money,
Renovations, but.
right,
depending
there's
on-
money set aside for the renovations.
Yeah.
That has to be done before you do the renovations.
Problem is, if you don't fix the roof, you're not gonna have a building to do it.
That's right.
Right, right. Yeah, maybe,
We're gonna have somebody look at it.
maybe we can get a couple quotes on
Doing it.
seeing what kind of condition the rest of the roof's in, if it's worth patching, or if it really needs to just be redone.
Is that must be the original asphalt shingles,
Right.
only 30 years old, I mean,
Right,
but yeah, this,
yeah. Yeah, maybe,
That money that we set aside, Carrie, do you know the wording on that? How was that?
yes, Amy said it could be used for that, there's like $27,000 left there.
yeah, it was only worded for, well, it was for the renovations to the Asheville station to bring it up to code.
It wasn't earmarked specifically for that.
No,
Okay.
no, it was for renovations to the building. So maybe Carrie, you can reach out to some people and get some estimates. Anything else from the board?
Yeah, the other thing, the vinyl lettering on the doors at the fire station,
Yep,
there's three fire department, well, 3 doors there for fire apparatus and then the ambulance.
yep.
That's all. I didn't know if we could reach out to Charlie and maybe have him give us a price on that.
Yeah, I mean, we can reach out to a few people and get a price from a few people.
Yeah,
I mean, Charlie would definitely be one of them we reach out to because he's local,
yeah.
but, yeah, no, it should be done. We discussed it
I
last
mean, it's
year.
visible, the right, what the remainder of what was there, but
Right,
it's not
Cleaned up.
yep. Yeah, so, Carrie, can you get some quotes on that too? In your spare time?
And Brian Tanguay got in touch with me. He asked me about how the clock was going as far as it being wound and everything. And we need to get in touch with Paul and
Yep,
get him up there now that the ladder's fixed.
yep. I've had zero luck getting a hold of Paul, so,
I messaged him and he said he was going to get in touch with you.
no. Nope. Still haven't heard from him.
Well, somebody should go up there. at least.
I've gone up to his house a few times and he's never home when I go up there. I messaged him a few times and I haven't heard back from him, so I don't know if he went away for the summer or something.
Anybody else interested in being the town clock custodian?
Jack, did you talk to that guy in Swansea?
No, it's Channy's.
Oh, Channy? Not yet?
No, I didn't, the board didn't say to do that.
Yeah. Maybe reach out to him and see if he's willing to come down and talk to us next week or something.
All right, I'll see if I can get him in next week.
It would, I mean, it would always be nice to have a couple people
Yeah.
willing
Yeah.
to do it anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we'll work
Brian
on
put a
that.
lot of work into that, as well as Robert, and so I want to make sure it keeps ticking.
Anything else from the board?
Yeah, actually, Carrie, what was the last update in Musterfield Park? I know they met. They are. All right. I know that they had placed some picnic tables out there and the little grills, but It really needs to be cleaned up.
I do know that they're meeting out there tomorrow at 6:30.
They are. All
Yeah,
right.
they posted their meeting 4 at the park.
Are you gonna be there?
I was going to, but the school meeting's tomorrow night too, so.
Okay.
The school board meeting's back open to the public inside the building like normal. Nothing else from the board? At this time, I'll open it to the public. Does anybody from the public have anything? Oh, yep, come on up to the mic, Kevin.
Not speak to the microphone, but I think last week the question was asked how much taxes past due here in Winchester, if there was a total on that.
Yep.
Is there a
Yep.
total and that, can that be announced?
Yep.
Jim gave somebody copies of the paperwork, but,
It's 1.75 million, Kevin.
but that also includes all the current tax bills that just went out.
No, that does
haven't-
not. I checked that, that's not correct. That's, doesn't include the bill that's due July 7th.
You sure, they're on the
Yeah.
list.
No,
Three
those-
pages of them.
That 5/11/20 date is the date that they had, 19s had to be paid before tax liens were put on.
Right.
Oh, so that's,
Yeah.
the last,
But that does include,
Last tax cycle.
interest and
Yes.
penalties.
Right,
yeah, including interest and penalties.
yes,
So 1.7 million past due.
Yep.
yes.
And so does the select board have any plan in try to get that money to come into, back to the town, or?
Yeah, we've been working on it.
We bring the property owners
Is there
in.
like a specific plan on what we're going to do? How do we get that money to come back into?
Legally, we can't do anything after 3 years. We can come up with plans, have not be sort of after money, but, we can't touch them until 3 years.
And when people get past due to the point where it's time to put a lien on the property, we have them come in and meet with us and try to work out a plan with them, with some sort of payment arrangement so that they can pay their taxes. Outside of that, there's nothing else legally that we can do. We can't, I mean, as it is, we put a lien on the property. That's legally all we're allowed to do.
I mean, even if you could get half of that money back in, that means that you wouldn't have to take out a tan every 6 months or every 9 months or every
Yeah. Oh, you're absolutely right. I would love to see that happen, but
Kevin, I would add to that 6 years ago, that number was probably well over 2 million. In the last 5 to 6 years, we have met with every possible landowner that is on that list, and we've received more revenue in the last 4 years out of back taxes than we have in the last, 10 years, probably. And it's, Janet, you've been here for a long time. We've really been aggressive on setting up payment plans with people, and if they break the plan, then we deed the property.
Well, I mean, that's great news, but still, 1.7 million is an awful lot of money.
I know.
You're right,
And
it
what
is.
I'm saying, it's come down because of the efforts that this board is putting forth to try to lower that number, and it has come down.
And
So,
you can't go after these property owners after 3 years. I mean, is that just something that is here in Winchester, or is that what every town
State.
has?
that's a state law.
So maybe if Winchester could reach out to some other towns to see if they have any other ways in which.
we have,
We have, they do it, most of them are doing the same thing we're doing.
Yep.
I mean, everybody's hands are tied, there's only so much we can do by state law.
right.
And if you tax deed their property, the only way you get the money is if they sell it. You know, that's the only thing
Yeah,
tax
when we
deed.
put a lien on it, and they sell it, and we get our money first.
Right.
That could take 10 years.
But then, I mean, the few properties we do end up taking, because they're more than the 3 years behind in taxes, we are pretty good about getting them right out to auction to get our money out of them.
And there are a couple properties, Kevin. I know this isn't what you like to hear, but there are a couple of properties basically the town doesn't want. Like the Tannery property. The Tannery property was a brownfield. We've spent I don't know how many thousands of dollars with some help from federal grants, but taxpayers' money also, to try to get it to the point where now we can use it. But that project tied the hands of the town for the past 25 years.
If I remember correctly,
And we have another one down in Nashville right now that's gonna be a brownfield. You know, once the owner gives it up and the town ends up with it, we're gonna go right back through the same thing. Do we own it and try to hopefully get some grant money from the federal government to, you know, from the federal EPA to clean it up? Or, you know, that's a big question.
if I remember,
It's not just residents that we're looking at. Those large commercial properties are a large chunk of that. So,
and if I remember correctly, Carrie, you might know, the tannery property, that costs us $76,000 a year,
Yeah,
I think it is. $76,000 a year
so for the monitoring wells. You know,
for the monitoring.
76,000. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
7,600.
Yeah.
No,
well,
it's 76,000.
No,
I think.
no. It's just under 8,000.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Yeah, and that's forever. That's something that we have to pay forever.
and we have no control over. That property costs us money.
Put your heads together and start thinking outside of the box, and I know that's hard to say every once in a while, but we're about to head into the worst recession that this country has seen probably since, the 1920s. You're going to be getting less tax money into this.
Yep.
Our hands are tied legally.
We've
Our hands are tied. We do what we can, Kevin.
and we've thought outside the box. That's why we did reach out to other towns, see how they're doing things, to see if there was a better way of doing it. And we can't come up with anything. If you've got examples of better ways to collect tax revenue from people, we'd be more than happy to listen to them.
I will pass along any examples I come up with, but as our elected officials here in town,
We have done plenty of research looking for examples over the 4 years I've been on this board now. I've reached out to many towns myself and talked to our attorney and the municipal association. I've made a lot of phone calls to figure out a better way to collect this revenue that's owed to the town of Winchester, because we all know it's a problem. There's no hiding that.
well, thank you for doing that, but people in the public realize that this is just going to become a problem that's going to get bigger and bigger. It's not getting smaller and smaller.
Well, it actually is getting smaller, Kevin.
Yeah.
It is. That's what I was saying. And just in the last 4 or 5 years, it's gotten...
It's going to get smaller because we're going into a recession. People are not going to have...
Right.
There's going to be...
I understand that, Kevin, but...
won't have the money to pay their taxes.
Kevin,
Well,
in the last 4 years, it's gotten smaller, all right? Going forward, right now, we're going to meet with the town clerk here as of July 1. What this board is doing is we're keeping a close track. We're asking for a 6-week window on our revenue compared to the last 5 years, because that's what we're thinking. Because we're thinking that our revenue is going to be lower than expected because of the virus and because of the economy the way it is. So we want to hit it in a 6-week period. We're not waiting 6 months. We're going to wait and see what our revenue is compared to the last 5 years for the 6 months. So the second week of August, we're going to be knowing where we sit. And at that point, we may have to make some drastic changes in town. Period. And no one likes to hear that, but that's what's going to happen.
Just one thing on that. Kevin and I rarely agree on stuff lately, but I do have to say, I do agree with him. We have similar interests. So with this, public shaming, as we've seen so public on Facebook and social media, etc., listing of those names, listing of the people who are actually behind, is that available, public knowledge?
Yes.
How do we find that?
Call-
Where is that? Is
call
that
the
posted
town.
anywhere?
It's right on the... You can actually, the town website. Yep.
So, I mean, I'm playing around with that tax kiosk, and there's no way to see who's delinquent or behind. You can look up individual names, you can look up...
You can look up names, you can look up
So,
properties.
but you would have to literally look up every single person's name. What I'm
Yep.
saying is, where's the list that says these 400 people?
Yeah, the town clerk can print that.
Let's be perfectly honest, we put on